They are breaking down the bases in Afghanistan where international forces have been fighting this long war and preparing to leave. Today was a historic milestone as the Afghan government formally took over combat lead across the country. Foreign forces move into a supporting role until they pull out at the end of next year. And another moment that could prove historic.
The Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan.
The Taliban opened a political office in Doha, and the Americans say they'll talk to them. At the G8, the Prime Minister said it is time to talk to the Taliban.
I think this is the right thing to do. Of course, it involves all sorts of difficulties, but in the end, we're standing in a place where people who were once committed to violence decided to give up that violence and join a political process, and that is what is required in Afghanistan.
The Afghan government, too, may be willing to talk to the Taliban, although President Karzai wants them to move from Doha to Afghanistan.
The principles are that the talks, having begun in Qatar, must immediately be moved to Afghanistan. Second, that the talks must bring about an end to violence in Afghanistan.
But was this war not fought to defeat the Taliban and their way of life, in particular their repression of women? The thought of talking to them might come as a shock, but the head of international forces here says it is time to talk.
My perspective has always been that this war is going to have to end with a political reconciliation, and so I frankly would be supportive of any positive movement in terms of reconciliation, particularly an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned process that would bring reconciliation between the Afghan people and the Taliban in the context of the Afghan Constitution.
There's been no call for a ceasefire. The war will not end with these talks, but these talks could end the war. Today could mark the beginning of the end of Afghanistan's long torment, as Britain's long, dusty campaign in the deserts of Helmand that cost more than 400 lives draws to a close. It might be some time before we can say whether it was worth it. David Loyne, BBC News, Kabul.